Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Colorado Rockies rebuild franchise here on MLB The Show 24. It's been quite a minute here since we've updated this Rockies franchise, and we have jumped ahead quite a bit since our last episode. So a little backstory, I had a lot of equipment issues, so I had to get a whole new setup, and I had a whole All-Star break episode, which kind of had to get scrapped as I moved on to a different laptop here. But we are back up and running. We're going to jump into a player lock game here with the newest member of our Colorado Rockies team, and we'll see him here soon. We acquired him at the trade deadline, and there he is, Casey Mize. We brought him over from the Tigers in a blockbuster trade there. They had pretty much all their guys there on the trade block between Mize, Matt Manning, and Tarek Skubal. But Mize was the guy we went after just because he was a little bit more affordable. And we'll start here in a player lock game, and then kind of after this game we'll update the viewers here at where we currently stand in the season. So first pitch here from Casey Mize, making his fourth start for the Rockies since acquiring him at the trade deadline. We sent over Adael Amador, who's been a standout shortstop for us in our farm system, one of the top prospects there at the position. A swing and a miss there by Paul Francisco. I believe a very high draft pick in our year 1 or our year 2 MLB draft. But we sent over Sterlin Thompson as well, along with Adael Amador and Justin Lawrence, just kind of a throw in there, give him a little more reliever depth. So Casey Mize, his fourth start now with our Rockies, as we try to get the strikeout there. Slider grounded to short, Tovar to first. One up, one down here to start the game. But we acquired Mize as we needed more depth in the rotation. So now we have four solid starting pitchers, I would say, maybe even 5 if you want to count Kyle Freeland. Although I think next year is the last year of his deal, and I think we'll just move him into a long relief spot for next season. Strike there on the inside part of the plate. Samuel Zavala along with Francisco, who we saw just lead off the game. Both of them very young players, and will probably progress into key pieces here for this White Sox in their own rebuild. Now the 0-2 from Mize. Looked like it was hammered, kind of hung a splitter there, but fouled off. Then we'll go curveball here off the plate. See if we can get him chasing. So we do come off a win against the White Sox last time out. A 3-run home run by Danny Jansen walked it off as we won 11-7, or maybe it was 10-7. That fastball just off. Now Zavala has worked it back even. The 2-2 here. We're going to go splitter. That one bounces in the dirt. So from 0-2 to 3-2, we now have a full count. And this White Sox team, the last team in the entire MLB, and that one just misses. That one probably could have gone either way, but amounts in a walk. So Casey Mize has really struggled walking batters since moving over to Colorado. Good pitch there with the sinker, just clips the outside part of the plate. We'll go right back to it, try and get that ground ball. That one a little low. So he has yet to make it out of the 5th inning in all 3 starts this season. That splitter very low. One game, I think he allowed 10 hits, and he's had at least 2 or 3 walks in every game so far. That one just clips the plate. We get the call. We'll go fastball high this time. Raise the eye level, and Andrew Benintendi goes down looking. Casey Mize has been getting a lot of strikeouts, though. Almost 2 per inning since being acquired here by Colorado. So he is in a contract year. And, I mean, at this point, I don't think we would re-sign him just based on his track record with the Rockies. Although, you know, it is a very limited sample size, only his 4th start with the team. They're going to try and steal Zavala to second. And Casey Jansen, a nice throw down there. Tovar on the tag. So the top of the 1st goes down. Just a walk given up by Mize, but he does get thrown out trying to steal. Danny Jansen showcasing his arm there at the backstop. And now we'll just jump right into the 2nd inning, as this is a player lock game. So Casey Mize, 18 pitches there in the 1st inning. I want to try and be a little more efficient. Fastball right down the heart of the plate. Looked at by Phil Maton, who leads the White Sox with 14 home runs. And as I said, the White Sox, the bottom team right now in all of baseball. A win here for the Rockies would hand Chicago their 100th loss of the season. Splitter bounces in the dirt. Now the 1-2. They did take game 1 of this 3-game set, though. And swing and a miss. Another strikeout for Casey Mize on the high heat. So with that one away now in the top of the 2nd, here's Colson Montgomery, another player who they hope can emerge as a core piece. Only batting .213, 13 home runs, though. He's played a lot. He's played a lot for a younger guy who hasn't really brought too much to the plate. So he should be attacking a little bit more here. The 2-0 now to Montgomery. And that one way high, so a 3-0 count. And look who's on deck. Adael Montero, formerly of our Rockies, but traded him. And a 4-pitch walk to Montgomery. And as I said, Mize has really struggled with the walks. His command just has not been there consistently, if at all. And here's Montero, acquired him this past offseason in a trade as we acquired Luis Robert Jr., who currently is out there in center field. A very good debut season for Robert here in Colorado. Made the All-Star team. Also made the home run derby. Ground ball to short. We get 1, and then we get 2. So the walk turns into a double play. And despite 2 walks already for Mize, he's faced a minimum of 6 batters as the Rockies are coming up to bat here in the bottom of the second. Nice glove work there by Tovar as we get the 6-4-3 to end it. Montero, the twin killer there. Still a tie ball game from Coors Field. A Danny Jansen RBI double makes it 1-0 as Zach DeLoach comes up to the plate, only batting 176 in the 7-hole here for the White Sox. That fastball just high. Now the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Fastball right over the plate. And DeLoach can't touch it. And I see at the bottom there, Rockies with 12 top 100 prospects and a top-rated farm system. We currently have the top prospect in all of baseball in second baseman Tom Park. Fly ball out there in foul territory. And that's going to be Yanquiel Fernandez out there making the play. I'm sorry, that's Joe Adele. And now here's Taylor Trammell batting sub 200, but 12 home runs, which seems like a lot here for these White Sox batters. Splitter gets away from Mize. That one a little too high. Now the 1-0. But like I said, we do have the top prospect in all of baseball. And we also have David Castillo, who entered this season at number 4, but I think has since gone down to number 6. Both of them drafted last year. Ground ball gets through for a base hit. The first base hit allowed here by Casey Mize. So 1 out, 1 man on here as we are set to face the number 9 hitter. And that's going to be Edward Cuero, I believe, their backstop. So hopefully we get another double play ball here. Splitter low, that one just inside off the plate. Try a sinker. That one well low. Go back to the splitter. 2-0 count. That one over the heart of the plate and snagged by Ryan McMahon there at the hot corner. His bat, his production at the plate has kind of dwindled this season, but his defense has always been there. 1 more year on his contract. I think he's set to make $15 million next year. Maybe a trade candidate this offseason, but we'll see. I don't know how interested teams are going to be in a kind of older third baseman with a high contract, especially because he's a little one-dimensional at the plate. Try to pick off again here. So the 1-1 count here to Paul Francisco, one of the top young infielders in the game right now. As I said, drafted in the year 1 or year 2 MLB draft. We get the call. We'll go slider. We haven't thrown a slider yet here. 40 pitches in. Francisco looking at that one all day. And I'll bring velocity with the fastball. That one almost clips Francisco, so a full count. The runner will be in motion. We'll go splitter. That one poked out to second base to his counterpart, to Brendan Rodgers. Now 1-0 still Rockies after 3. 3, 4, 5. Heart of the order due up for Colorado. Still 1-0 here as we start the 4th inning. Samuel Zavala. OPS over 700 despite just 1 home run so far. Very good outfielder prospect. I want to say this is probably his first full season. 6th in the American League with 8 triples. He's going to try for the bunt. That one goes foul. And I'm trying to get him with the inside slider. The 0-2 from Mize. That one dips beneath the zone. We'll try fastball. See if we can get him climbing the ladder. Not that time. I think we'll try again, but go a little bit more in. 2-2 from Mize. Top of the 4th. 1-0 Rockies. That one fouled off. And I'll go curveball away. That one, it's like it bounced on the plate. So again, we have an advantageous count for our pitcher, Mize here. And then the batters just stonewall him, work it to a full count. Fastball And that one's going to be fouled away. A very good at-bat here by Samuel Zavala. Already 7 pitches in, even though it's a full count. Let's go curveball here. Try and get him off guard. And that one tucks right into the zone. He thought he had a walk, but that one was more middle than it was away. Third strikeout now for Casey Mize. Andrew Benintendi back up, struck out his first time up. Splitter gets inside. So the fourth start here for Casey Mize, 0-2 so far with a 4.8 ERA and a 1.8 whip. Ground ball there to short, Tovar to first. And another out here in the fourth, which brings up Nick Maton, their cleanup hitter. And the White Sox, you would think, they have a lot of budget to maybe make some moves this coming off season. A lot of young pieces in place, but they need those veterans to kind of move them along a little bit faster if they want to compete there in the AL Central. That one fouled off, now the 1-1. Let's go sinker. That one grounded to third. McMahon to first. And that's going to do it here at the top of the fourth. Now heading into the bottom of the fourth, Rockies still lead 1-0. It's now a 2-0 game. Luis Robert Jr. an RBI double to double our lead. And there here's Colson Montgomery, a 4-pitch walk last time. Going to be a little more aggressive this time. That fastball just misses. We'll go back to the fastball here. That one does catch the outside part of the plate. Go sinker. Should have went splitter here, but too late now. That one fouled off. We'll take it. A 1-2 count now to Montgomery. We'll go back to the curveball. It looked really good last time. That one swung on and missed. Perfect curveball there from Mize. We got to work in these breaking balls a little bit more. There's Elahiris Montero. Monster game last time out. 3 for 5. A couple RBIs, a couple doubles, I think it said there. Fastball just misses. And like I mentioned earlier, we did move all the way here. We're now into beginning of September. And last time we kind of left off, we were right before the All-Star break. So I have played a lot of games. I played every game from that point on, just offline while I was kind of waiting for my equipment situation to sort itself out. So I played every game, not only for our MLB Rockies, but I played every game at AA, and I've played every game in AAA. So do the math. About a month and a half playing for all 3 teams. I'm not quite sure how many games that is, but maybe like 80, 70 or 80. Full count now to Montero. Swung on and missed. Now the top 2 go down on strikes. 5 strikeouts now for Mize. Let's see if he can strike out the side. Zach DeLoach back up, 0 for 1. And that one just misses off. Mize already nearing 70 pitches here in the 5th inning. Splitter ground ball. And that's going to be foul. Go back to it. That one swung on and missed. Very good pitch there from Mize. I want to go curveball, but we'll go back to the fastball first and see what happens. That one fouled off. Good pitch there by Mize. Good placement. Although those really haven't been called for strikes today, but it will make a guy protect with 2 strikes. We'll go back curveball now. Oh, that one looked nice. Thought we were going to get the call. And we'll try it again. 2-2 here to Zach DeLoach, trying to strike out the side. And that one fouled off. Go slider. We haven't thrown many sliders today for whatever reason. I love the splitter. That slider poked there to short. Tovar Fields throws to Alonso at first. And that's going to do it. 5 scoreless innings now for Casey Mize. Probably his best outing so far as a member of the Rockies. And we're now here in the top of the 6th. So Mize has yet to work out of the 6th inning. I think his longest start was 5 1/3. So if you set down 2 batters here, we've kind of eclipsed some new ground here with the Rockies. First pitch strike off the fastball. We'll go back to it. That one, see, we're not getting those calls on that part of the plate. That one probably should have been ours, though. The 1-1 will go splitter. That one definitely off. The 2-1 now to Taylor Trammell. Fastball fouled off. Now a 2-2 count. I think we'll go, we'll give it the curveball again. It's been working. Swung on and missed. He was thinking fastball all the way. And Mize has just been racking up all these strikeouts the past couple innings. He had a few to start, kind of went cold, but he's kind of finding his form. Fastballs to start the splitter. Fastball. And then the curveball. Now here's Edgar Cuero again. I believe one of those guys who had an 0-2 count worked it full. Although he was retired, swung on and missed there. Fastball right down Main Street. He just has not had the timing against the fastball today. That one right over the plate for a strike. Now we'll try fastball again, but a little more away. Again, chasing. He's not chasing that time. That one not even close to being deceiving. Now the 1-2 will go back to the curveball. That one hard hit foul. Not much contact against Mize. I mean, he's kind of been his own worst enemy with the walks, but I believe only one hit surrendered to this point. That one almost offered at there from Cuero, but he holds up. And now the 2-2 will just bring the heat. He has not been able to catch up to it. And that time fouls it off. We'll do it again. And then we'll go slider if he doesn't stay alive. That one inside, so now it's full count. We'll just go to the splitter instead. Paul Francisco on deck. Another full count. There's been so many full counts. Now he kind of lumbers out there to left. Joe Adael there makes the play. 2 away now in the 6th. 2 outs now. Paul Francisco up for the 3rd time. Mize has set him down each time. Ground ball there to second. Again to his counterpart. And that'll do it here in the 6th. Again, a 1-2-3 inning from Casey Mize. The Rockies still do have the lead as we head into the later stages. Still a 2-0 game here as we start the 7th inning. Mize at 87 pitches. The run support has not really been there, although the White Sox did have Garrett Crochet on the bump today. Probably the highest rated player on their entire team. The 0-1 to Zavala will go splitter, fouled off. And now we'll go slider. 0-2 slider here from Mize. That one 2 inside. Go fastball up and away. That one does find the zone. Another strikeout here for Mize. Zavala has been very conservative when it comes to swinging the bat. He's looked at a lot of pitches here today, but you kind of do want that from your number 2 hitter. Now 91 pitches for Mize as he records an out here in the 7th. That sinker inside to Benintendi. The 1-0 count will go fastball. That one not getting the call, like I said. We're not getting the call in those spots. It's now 2-0. We'll go another fastball here. That one right down the plate. Only 92 miles per hour, but Benintendi late on it. And now we'll go 2-1 splitter. That one in the dirt. And it's now 3-1. Phil Matan on deck. That fastball too high here. So the tying run now at the plate. The 3rd walk for Mize, and they are going to keep us in there for now. I do find, in these player lock games with pitchers, they do give you a very long leash usually. Swung on and missed their sinker way down. So the game could be tied with 1 swing of the bat, but the inning could also be over with 1 swing of the bat, trying for double play number 3. He's not offering at that low slider. Try a splitter. That one ground ball. Flip there to short, and we get another double play. 4-6-3 that time. The 3rd double play Mize has induced today with 7 strikeouts as well. So 7 scoreless innings there from Casey Mize. Only 1 hit allowed so far, 3 walks. Rockies up 2-0. And they will leave us out here to start the top of the 8th. 99 pitches. Here's number 100. Colson Montgomery 0 for 1 with a walk. That fastball looked at right down the plate. And the pitcher is now out of energy, so I'm not sure how much longer Bud Black is going to stretch it. Montgomery, a big blast out there to right center, and that bounces off the wall. Montgomery to second, and he'll stand pat there with a leadoff double. And I think it might be time to take Casey Mize out, and that is exactly what Bud Black is going to do. I'm assuming they'll throw in maybe John Curtis here, or TJ Antone, and hopefully Ken Hughes can clean it up with a save. But a very good outing here from Casey Mize. 7 strong innings, 2 hits allowed, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, 3 double plays. And there is John Curtis. Tremendous numbers between last year and this year. A sub-2 ERA. Really not allowing many hits, not walking many batters. A good strikeout rate, 19 holds in 52 1/3. He's handled a very big workload in that bullpen. We'll simulate the rest. And Joe Adael had a 2 RBI triple. You like to see that, trading away Sterlin Thompson. That kind of opened up a little more depth there. Not depth, but it opened up a spot there in the outfield for someone to kind of emerge. And Joe Adael, we like to see him get going. It's been a little slow for him offensively this season. as we do take this one 4-0. Casey Mize finally gets his first win as a member of the Colorado Rockies, and hopefully he can keep up these type of performances as we work our way into the postseason. But as I said, we're going to review the past month and a half, as I had to skip ahead a lot, and we'll kind of go through some of our players, some of our prospects, and set up the final episodes of this Year 3 regular season. We will also just note the box score real quick. So Garrett Crochet got bounced after 4 innings. Looks like Nolan Jones was 4 for 4. Casey Mize does get player of the game. Rogers 1 for 5 along there with Robert Jr. Robert Jr. had that RBI double. Nolan Jones 4 for 4, trying to get that average back up into the 300s. Danny Jansen 2 for 4 with an RBI double. And Joe Adell 2 for 3 with a walk, 2 RBIs on that triple, as his average continues to climb, still there but beneath the Mendoza line. John Curtis a clean inning, gets the hold, and Gregory Soto a clean inning as well with a strikeout. And now for the remainder of the episode, we'll kind of just bounce around our franchise here. First, we'll start with trades, and as I mentioned, we did acquire Casey Mize there at the trade deadline. We sent them Adael Amador, Sterlin Thompson, and Justin Lawrence. We'll review a few more over here. Astros get Nolan Gorman from the Cardinals, the reigning World Series champions, as they acquire Christian Javier and Josh Hader. Probably a couple bigger contracts there in exchange for a nice young slugger. So I think the Astros might have won that deal. The Royals acquire Nolan Arenado. So the Cardinals get rid of Arenado and Nolan Gorman just days apart. So for Arenado, the Royals send over Carson Rocaforte and Adolfo Manuel. And the Royals in very good contention this year. I think that might be leading the AL Central as they get a veteran bat there. Of course, Arenado, a future Hall of Famer. Marlins, Pirates, nothing else really notable here. Blue Jays get Christian Walker from the Cubs, straight up for Orelvis Martinez. The Yankees get Brian Reynolds, and Reynolds has been bounced around. You know, he was with the Cardinals last year, a tremendous season, and of course started out with the Pirates before they traded him over to St. Louis. Cardinals get Roderick Arias and Yorlin Calderon there for Reynolds from the Yankees. Brendan Donovan, so the Cardinals get rid of another bat, getting rid of the main contributors there in their lineup. They send him to the Royals. So the Royals and Cardinals, interstate rivals there. They've completed 2 trades here towards the trade deadline. Gavin Cross and Brendan McNair go to the to the Cardinals. Padres get Darryl Hernandez, Alexis Pedroza. And the trades in this game, I say it almost every episode, they're absolutely ridiculous. The trade system in this game needs a huge revamp, and I really hope that's something they tackle going into next year, although certainly not giving up hope. Giving my hopes up, rather, as they really don't bother with franchise mode much at all. So that's really it for notable trades. We've had a bunch, in the first 2 seasons, and now I think we'll kind of go down the roster a little bit and just kind of recap everybody of what we're working with. So we have some nice pieces here at the top. Nolan Jones, of course, we started with him back in year 1, seeing good progression. He's hitting .291, just under .300. The slugging way up from the past 2 seasons, on pace for a career high there. OPS at .923, 30 home runs for the first time in his career. Luis Robert Jr., of course, acquired him from Chicago this past offseason. 36 home runs, too short of a career high. 96 RBIs, already set a career high there. Batting .257, a slow start for him. He was tremendous in spring training with I think he had 10 home runs in spring training alone, a slow start, but he's been putting it together here in the past couple of months. Pete Alonso bidding for an MVP award, but he has gone cold here over the past week or so. He does have a player option at just $15 million, so I think he might opt out of that, but we're definitely going to tender him if that's the case and hopefully bring him back for a few more years here in Colorado. Already over 100 RBIs, 45 home runs, 380 OBP, so it's nice to see him getting on base more, drawing a little more walks, slugging at .600 with a .980 OPS, and of course we'd like for him to finish with a 300 average, 50 home runs. What a season that would be. He actually did win the home run derby this season as well. We had him and Robert Jr. in the home run derby, as Alonso took down Robert Jr. in the first round and then defeated Aaron Judge there in the championship. But like I said earlier, we had to scrap that All-Star episode, unfortunately, but Robert Jr. and Alonso were All-Stars this season. Max Fried was not, despite his 15-3 record at this point, and he will have him for 2 more seasons, hopefully, as he does have that player option. His second season here with Colorado, just missed out on a All-Star appearance. He actually had enough votes, but the Brewers with Dean Kramer, they needed him to get in as their lone representative. Each team has one All-Star, so he got in, unfortunately, over Fried, even though Fried had more votes. But as far as Brewers go, Kramer had the most votes, thus he got the spot. Anthony Santander, another All-Star. You see the fielding regressing a little bit, vision, discipline as well, but he's a slugger for us. He's a DH, 38 home runs, a new career high for him, over 100 RBIs already. The only 2 times he's done that has been, his first 2 seasons here with our Rockies, batting average 291, OPS over 900 right now. They're getting very hot here towards the end of the season. Going to end with over 40 home runs, you would think, at this point. What's his contract? And he has a player option like Alonso this coming offseason. So we'll see the developments there with Alonso and Santander, 2 All-Stars for our team. Speaking of All-Stars, Aaron Civale did make the All-Star team his first season here with the Rockies. We signed him to a 3-year contract last offseason, about $28 million, and he does have a player option going into that 3rd year. I'm sorry, I think we actually have a team option, so that's even better. 13-5. He has missed his last 3 starts or so, but he is slated to return, and we're going to start next episode with his pitching performance against the Los Angeles Dodgers. But an all-star season here from Aaron Civale. He got in over Max Fried, and we had 1 more all-star. So 5 all-stars in total, and here's Ken Hughes, plus 11 there, walks per 9, plus 7 for hits per 9. Just tremendous progression, and he's been on a tear to start his career. He did convert, I think, like 39 of his first 40 save attempts on this season, but we have had a few blown saves here. As I said, we did play the last month and a half. We'll review those games, but we haven't had good outings with Hughes, unfortunately, although he still has among the best numbers of any closer this season. So he's going to, of course, have arbitration coming up, renewable contract, but I think we're going to try and lock him up long term. He's already proven himself to be a tremendous closer, although there could be, some turnover there at that position, as there tends to be around the league with closers. But I think we have a long-term option here, and someone who could maybe go down as the best closer of all time in Rockies history. It just comes down to how much he is going to demand, because, in his early years in this game, they're not going to demand too much, so the contract can get a little bit team friendly, and I like to keep it a little bit more realistic. So I think we'll give him a pretty hefty deal come this all season, lock him up for the next 5-6 years or so. So now we'll just backtrack here, go down starting pitchers. Casey Mize, we just saw. Jack Flaherty, very up and down. Love that A potential, and we do have a team option after next season. So unless he improves next season, kind of establishes himself as a top or middle of the rotation type guy, I think we might just move on from him and look to fill his spot in the rotation elsewhere, because we do have tremendous depth here in our minor league system. And we'll start here with Michael Yamashita. We drafted him 3rd overall in the year 1 draft, and seeing very good progression, plus 6 there, Ks per 9. And he's coming around, once that hits it per 9 and Ks per 9 go up a little bit more, maybe get a little bit better control, I think he'll be ready. So maybe by age 21, spend another year, maybe another year and a half in the minors, and he might be ready to make his major league debut. And he's someone we see as a potential ace with that 5-pitch mix, good stamina, very good break. He's 9-10 this season, 2.95 ERA, a 102 WHIP. Very good numbers, a 5.2 WAR as well. So Michael Yamashita tearing it up here. Then we have Juan Ayala, and he was the guy we selected after Yamashita there in the compensatory round, I believe it was. And 72 overall. He actually just got hurt in his last start with a shoulder inflammation, so he's probably going to miss the rest of the season. Went 4-14, not the best record there, obviously. And we kind of struggled with run support here with their Isotopes, our AAA team. But decent numbers here for Ayala. 3.61 ERA, 1.30 WHIP, a WAR, at 2.7 half of what Yamashita has accumulated. But these two guys at B potential, and 2 guys we envision to be in our rotation within the next couple seasons or so. Kyle Freeland, we have a big contract on him, unfortunately, due $15.5 million next season, and I do think we might just move him to the bullpen in a long relief role. I really like having a lefty and a righty in those long relief spots, and I think at this point in his career, he's kind of he's nothing over the top. He is putting together, a pretty solid season, all things considered, but I think we could afford to upgrade his spot in the rotation. So as I mentioned, Ayala is injured right now, so we do need to call up a new starting pitcher to AAA. And we're going to land here on Alfonso Campaneris. He was also selected in that year 1 draft with Yamashita and Ayala. And he's tearing it up there with our yard goats there in AA. +7 progression right now, hits per 9. Now still low 40s though. That has a lot of work to do. But his other per 9 categories are pretty solid, pretty well rounded. Brings decent control, decent velocity. But look at that record, 15-1. And he's only 19, so I would tend to hold off on sending him up to AAA already, but he's just absolutely dominating. 2.25 ERA, a 105 whip, and a WAR at 4.6. So Alfonso Campaneris, he's going to start his last few outings there with our Isotopes. Welcome to AAA. Antonio, so it is September call-ups, and like I said earlier, Savali was hurt, so we had to call up a new pitcher. And we just ended up calling up Senzatella, another guy with a very high contract. We're going to shed so much extra weight here on our budget come next offseason. Not this upcoming offseason, but next offseason, we'll shed a bunch of unwanted budget, and we'll be able to allocate that elsewhere. And that's going to amount to like a max contract. So maybe at that stage, we're kind of ready and aggressive to make a push, maybe at someone like Adley Rutschman, or whoever the top names are there on the market. So Senzatella made his first appearance since 2023, has had a bunch of injuries, 18 1/3 so far, 4.42 ERA, a 1.42 whip, and negative WAR in that limited sample size. So we do have him on the roster right now for September call-ups, but someone we probably won't use too much down the stretch, maybe more so in mop-up roles. And then we have Herb Lopez here, another guy who was drafted in that one-year draft. We drafted an absurd amount of pitchers, and I think 5 out of the 6 had B potential or better. Lopez, one of the 2 lefties along with Campaneris in that class. Overall, very good progression, the velocity and break with a 5-pitch mix. You love that. Recently called him up to AAA, only 2 starts. He's 0-1, 13 innings in that span with 12 strikeouts, almost 1 per inning. A very good ERA, a very good whip. Another guy who just hasn't gotten the run support. And if you go back a few episodes, we have a perfect game bid from Herb Lopez. We took it all the way to the final out, set down 26 in a row, and I recorded that last inning. I was playing that game offline, and then I just had to make an episode out of it, and we gave up a hit with that last out where we could have recorded a perfect game. Another guy, Rudy Smith here, drafted in that year 1 MLB draft where we got a ton of pitching prospects, seeing decent overall progression. And that A potential, you like that. Already up to 65 overall, just 22 years old. 9-7, an ERA under 3, a whip at 1.13, 2.9 WAR. Another guy here from that year 1 draft, Jose Vera. So I think that's all the starters there we drafted in that year 1 draft. All guys who can make the rotation here pretty soon, but we might use some as trade bait here, maybe this offseason or next offseason. Nothing over the top here with Vera. No big strengths. That walks per 9 is pretty good. The control is decent, but everything else, pretty low. The velocity and break there, both under 60. The break under 50, you don't really like that. But I think he's someone maybe more of a long relief type guy with nothing like no crazy traits, but someone who can be more of a pitch to contact type guy and get outs that way. ERA under 3, whip under 1.2, and a 3.8 WAR. So that's really our pitchers in the organization right now. A lot of depth, a lot of young guys coming up, as I said, who we might look to trade. TJ Antone, we signed him this past offseason to bring more reliever depth, and he's been absolutely dominant. Already career high in innings pitched at 73.2, a whip just over 2, a whip at 1.19, 85 strikeouts in 73 innings, not really allowing hits, not really walking batters, and we'll have as a player option for next year at just 4.6, so I would expect him to opt out of that, but I think we could still re-sign him. Scott Barlow, another guy we brought in the offseason. The whip is very high at 1.64, although we just have him for this year, so I don't think he's someone we're going to bring back. We'll probably look to upgrade there. Taj Bradley, we acquired him in the Charlie Blackmon trade going back to year 1 with Tampa Bay. He's eaten a lot of innings over the last 2 seasons. It's been very good out of the bullpen for us, primarily in a long relief spot, although he did have a closing gig for a short while last season. John Curtis, absolutely dominant, as we saw him earlier. A whip at 1.69. A whip at 0.99, an ERA at 1.69. I think I mispronounced that a couple players ago. Maybe that was Antone, Gregory Soto. So over the offseason, we brought Soto, Barlow, and Antone, really kind of revamped this bullpen. And Soto has been getting a lot better as we go down the stretch here. Tremendous stuff. 2.93 ERA, 1.34 WHIP, 58 in the third he's eaten, and on pace to set career high in innings pitched. Lucas Gilbreth, the other lefty we have in our pitching staff, +7 this season in walks per 9, and he's been very solid over the course of this franchise. Been getting better every single season, and you like to see that. Still have him arbitration one more year, so he'll likely be back. And Mitch Bratt, our top lefty reliever in the organization, we acquired him from Texas in year 1. Very good progression across the board. A 1.51 ERA and a WHIP under 1. We have him in a long relief spot there in AAA. Here's Jordan Quinones, our AAA closer, +7 home runs per 9, although that walks per 9 did take a hit. We acquired him last year, I believe, from the Angels, and he's 43 out of 47, so a ton of save attempts, and he's hammered it down most of the way. I think Quinones and Mitch Bratt, both lefties, I think at least one of them will find their way into our bullpen. Maybe not next year, but the year after. Ricky Raymond, another lefty. Actually, I'm sorry, Quinones was acquired from the Cardinals when we sent over Cal Quantrill, but Ricky Raymond we got brought over from the Angels. We just called him up to AAA, spent most of the year down in AA. Hasn't given up a run yet in 8 innings. Only 1 hit allowed, only 3 base runners total for a .38 WHIP. So he's been dominant there so far in AAA. I think that's pretty much the standout relievers in our organization. Of course, here's Ken Hughes on one of the best starts. I mean, converts 51 out of his first 55 save attempts with a 1.81 career ERA, a .84 WHIP, and a WAR at 1.7. Now, catcher, of course, we have Danny Jansen, brought him over in the year 1 offseason. 23 home runs, so the slugging you would think is way up from last year, but it's only actually a 10-point rise. And the OBP, the average is down, so kind of a down year for Danny Jansen, but he is still progressing, which we like to see, and we still do have him for one more year. I really just like the veteran presence he brings back there. We kind of need that on what's fairly a younger team. Really no catching. Actually, Ken Ramirez we drafted last year, and he's a very good hitting catcher. The fielding leaves a lot to be desired, but he does have a good arm at least, hitting .276 with a .354 OBP. 5 home runs. We like playing with him down there. Hits righties very, very well. Pete Alonso we talked about. Michael Toglia we just called back up. Spent all of last year in AAA. Only batting 158 so far, but he is slugging .421. 3 hits in 19 at-bats. A home run and a triple. Make up 2 out of the 3 of those hits. Pretty crazy there. Muhammad Huffman we just called up. Haven't gotten a chance to play with him yet. We drafted him last year. Switch hitting first baseman with good power down the line, hopefully, and he's going to be a very good fielder, a very good arm. So he's someone who might be better suited, at the hot corner, as he does have that as a secondary position, but we'll see how that goes. Brendan Rodgers having a very good year, although the potential is dropping. I'm surprised to see that. We do have him signed for the next 3 seasons after this year, although player option on that final season, and he's solid. Nothing over the top, but plays very good glove there at defensive, at second base, a former Gold Glover. Very good contact overall, especially against lefties. Batting .273 this year, which matches his numbers from last year. The OBP a little bit down, but the slugging a little bit up. So trying to still hit 20 home runs. He hit 19 in each of the first 2 seasons with this franchise. 18 so far this year, and a lot of them have come in this the last month of August. So looks like he is going to eclipse 20 home runs for the first time with just 2 more this season. David Castilla, I mentioned him, and we will look at the top prospects here shortly, but David Castilla has been tearing it up. We recently called him up to AAA, and he's batting .344 with a .417 OBP of 500 slugging for an OPS over 900. Was having a very good season down in AA, already 21 years old. He was our second pick in last year's MLB draft. We got Alex Parra, who we'll see here shortly, at number 7 overall. And we were expecting Parra not even to be there at that pick, and he turned out to be. We were totally prepared, to take Castilla at that slot, and he ended up slipping all the way down to like 37 or whatever it was, our other pick. So very good turnout there, not only in the year 1 draft, but the year 2 draft as well, and also the year 3 draft, which I believe was last episode we'll take a look at that recap here shortly, as we are going to be able to see the ratings and the potential for those prospects for the first time. We'll now go down here to Tom Park, who I mentioned earlier, the top prospect in all of baseball, seeing good progression across the board. Just 18 years old, lefty at the plate, righty on defense. Going to be a potential Gold Glover, very good speed, steals base as well, has stolen 7 out of 8. No home runs, but he's batting .284, slugging at .422 with 9 doubles, 3 triples. And he was a late round pick last year, and he debuted as the top prospect in all of baseball. So I think, the whole franchise system, especially the draft, especially trading, needs to be upgraded a lot here in this franchise mode. But we'll take it. Tom Park and Castilla, two very good second basemen, two very different. I think Castilla may be a potential batting champion, whereas Park a potential Gold Glover. But he is seeing some decent progression at the plate already, and we've had some good games hitting with him. At third base, we've been without Nick Senzel for quite a bit now with that fractured wrist. He was tearing it up predominantly as someone we threw in against lefties in our lineup. .498 slugging, .833 OPS with 12 home runs, just one short of his career high. And he does have a player option for next season. We'll see if he exercises that, although I think he's going to opt out. And he's seeing progression all across the board, so I think we're going to bring him back if it's at a reasonable price. Probably someone who deserves to be in the starting lineup, but that hitting against righties just needs to see a little bit more progression before he becomes an everyday player, especially because his glove isn't that great. Ryan McMahon, he's struggled early on, now seeing some regression at this point in his career, but he has come around here a little bit lately. We did eclipse 1,000 career hits with McMahon a few games back, slugging under 400 OPS at just .327, and the average at .237. The number is really dropping, especially from last season. And we will have him at $14 million next year. So between Freeland, Senzatella, and McMahon, 3 older guys who are kind of signed to irresponsible contracts, I guess we'll say, we're going to clear up over $30 million between those 3 players. And like I said, maybe allocate that to a max player in that. I believe that would be the year 4 offseason. And now here's Alex Parra, the top pick in our last year's draft at 7 overall. The glove, nothing special, but he does have a strong arm there at the hot corner. Seeing good progression at the plate. Already, a very good hitter against lefties. I considered calling him up in September call-ups, but I'd rather just wait till next year, only 19 years old, and he's not going to be an everyday player at this point. So I figured it was a little bit better to just let him hang there in AAA and keep progressing. The contact versus righties is down 1, but we'll take the +6 there in power. 20 home runs leading the AAA team, average at .259, slugging at .455, and he's going to be a very good player. Maybe bid for a roster spot next season in spring training, but we're not going to rush it with Alex Parra. Going over to shortstop, Ezequiel Tovar. He's won a Gold Glove last year, probably going to win it again this year. The fielding there at 96, and he's a guy who was already signed for a long-term deal entering this franchise. $12 million for the next 4 years after this season at just 24 years old, and he's already played a lot of games, all things considered, for a guy his age. You like that the average, the OBP is up this season, although the slugging is down. 20 home runs last year, just 10 to this point. But anything he really provides offensively is a bonus with that sure glove he brings at short, the power, getting a little aggression. But overall, solid player, and he's someone who's probably going to hang around for the duration of this franchise there at shortstop. Left field, Yanquiel Fernandez opened as the starter in left field, but a very up and down season for him, kind of already an above average fielder with a good arm. The bat is coming around. Last year in a limited sample, or I guess not even a limited sample size, in almost 300 at-bats, he batted .263, slugging at .424, but all that down. The slash line is down entirely this season, although he has exceeded his home runs and RBIs, striking out a little bit less. So some things to like, some things not to like in Fernandez's, year 2, like full season with the Rockies, but seeing very good progression. Love that potential 75 overall lefty. So I think next year he'll be able to put together a more complete season and really emerge as one of our bats, at the bottom of the lineup. +6 power versus lefties, +4 vision, +3 power versus righties. He's going to get there, whether it takes another season or 2. We talked about Joe Adell as someone who kind of had to fill in as we traded Sterlin Thompson to the Tigers. And he's been up and down. We acquired him last year in that trade with the Angels. I forget who we sent over. It kind of escapes me right now, but I believe we acquired him with Ricky Raymond, who we talked about earlier, lefty there in AAA now. Batting under 200 though, Adael, slugging under 350, OPS under 600. But we really have him up here for his speed. Off the bench, we don't have many guys who can get up there and make an impact as a pinch runner or steal bases off the bench. So that's primarily what we have him for. Although he is seeing progression across the board. I still do like the ceiling, but I don't know if he's someone we're going to bring back next year with just one more arbitration season. But we shall see. If he has a strong finish here down the stretch, plays well in the postseason, maybe he is someone we bring back. Herberto Hernandez, I really like what he brings. Brings a lot of pop there with his bat, a versatile fielder. We've played him a lot at first base in AAA, and I think he's a very, very good first baseman. I kind of like him there better than outfield. So maybe we'll just change that altogether as his predominant position. Although I don't like how if we do put him at first base, we'll lose that catcher eligibility. But he's having a good season offensively, 421 slugging, 15 home runs. He and Alex Parra went back-to-back in our last game there in AAA. Luis Robert Jr. we talked about. And pretty deep here in center. Last year we drafted Luis Castro with one of our late picks. Turned into a B potential. You like the speed. Not so much the glove, but it's viable. It'll be viable out there with a stronger arm at least. Nothing special at the plate quite yet, although you like the potential power there against righties, and he is seeing a lot of progression, slugging under 400, but still only 19 years old. I think he'll emerge and come around a lot next season. Robert Marmolejo, another center fielder we drafted in that year 2 draft, along with Castro, Castilla, Parra, Ken Ramirez, that catcher we talked about. So year 1, we were focused on starting pitching, and then last year we just went position players all across the board pretty much. Robert Marmolejo just called him up to Double-A. He's currently 4 out of 6 to start with 2 doubles, so you like that. Seeing good progression across the board. Going to be a better glove out there in center than Castro will be, but Castro probably going to be better power bat, although Marmolejo might be a better contact guy. So, you've seen it. We've gone over kind of our top prospects here, and a lot of guys, to be excited for as we move along. Jones and Santander here in right. Zach Veen has been very up and down, seeing some regression, especially against righties. He hits lefties better than he hits righties, even though he's a lefty bat. Good glove, good arm. Only batting 228 though, but like I said, he is kind of coming around here, but he's someone who might look to trade in the offseason, especially with who he drafted, Franklin Delaney, in this past year's draft. We'll look at him. Like I said, we'll look at his skills and our other draft picks from that draft here shortly. Jordan Beck, very similar here to Zach Veen, someone that's kind of underachieving, but we do like that he's still progressing across the board, both 24 years old, very, very similar skill sets. So that's why I'm kind of opting to maybe trade Veen and just stick with Jordan Beck. Pavin Smith, we just called him up as one of 2 September call-ups. We talked about Senzatella earlier. And Pavin Smith, we signed him prior to the year 2 season. He absolutely tore it up in AAA, but didn't quite do enough to make the 26-man roster. So spent most of last year in AAA. We called him up for September call-ups like we did this year. And nothing special about it, 275, no homers or anything, and just 40 at-bats. We'll maybe look to get him some at-bats against righties, as he does hit them pretty well. And disregard my last statement, I thought we are going to be able to look at draft picks, but I guess once September call-ups comes up, you don't have access, looking at their ratings anymore. So I apologize for that. So instead, we'll just come here to top prospects. And here we see at the top, Tom Park, who we already talked about. Roberto Escalera from the Pirates, one of the top pitchers. Or I guess he is the top pitching prospect. And then we have David Castilla here at number 4. So we have 2 of the top 4 prospects in all of baseball, including the number 1 guy, both of whom are second basemen. We'll just kind of go down the board here. Wes Connor and Noble Meyer here for the Marlins. They have 2 top 8 prospects, both of whom are starters. And Wes Connor, he was drafted in that year 1 draft. The only pitcher, I believe, with a higher potential than our Michael Yamashita. Max Clark here for the Tigers, the second rated center fielder behind Pedroza. Raleigh Donovan was the top closer in the year 2 draft. Marcos Costo, he was a very good player from last year. Very good glove. I think they drafted him in the first round. The Athletics there. Abraham Zapeta, I remember him, a potential right fielder, very good contact. Looks like he just got called up to Double-A here recently. And then we see Alex Parra now up to 23 on the board. Talked about him earlier, raking there in AAA, 20 home runs. At 25, here's Luis Castro, our 5th or 6th round pick from last year. I forget what it was, but we're getting very good return on investment already in these late draft picks. You know, we could trade them, and they would bring a pretty good trade value. Here's Steve Dell, the number 1 overall pick from last year to the Chicago White Sox, already seeing a drop there in potential from an A to a B, -8 in power versus lefties, and he's already up in the bigs, although he's only played 2 games, no at-bats, so I guess they're just kind of using him as a pinch runner at this point with that 78 speed, but you would think they want to get him out there. Very good glove as well, but yeah, the number 1 pick from last year, looks like the White Sox didn't make the best selection. At 36 here, we have Jose Vera, who we mentioned earlier. Maybe a guy we just throw into the bullpen as a long relief pitcher down the line. Here's Adael Amador. As I said, we traded him in that Casey Mize trade, and the Tigers just promptly called him up to the bigs. He's had 34 at-bats, 8 hits, 1 home run, batting .235 with a high OBP, slugging not that great, but, you know, the OPS at .763, pretty good. So the Tigers are just going to ride with Amador, it looks like, at short for now, and see what he can provide at 22 years old, the switch-hitting shortstop, formerly in our Rockies organization. Here's Juan Ayala, now hurt, probably going to miss the rest of the season. Another pitcher we have here in the top 40. Now outside the top 50, we have Herb Lopez at 55 and Rudy Smith at 56. So a lot of pitchers here. I think Castilla, Park, Castro, and Parra are position players that we have in the top 50, top 100. Mitch Bratt here, maybe going to bid for a spot in the bullpen next year, although I don't think he's quite ready, but he's been very dominant. Same here with Jordan Quinones, our closer for the Isotopes. Now outside the top 90, and we have one more here, Muhammad Huffman. We still have not played with him, as he did just get the call up to Double-A, only 54 overall, so a long-term project, but we do like the upside. So this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for hanging around here with this episode. I know it was a little bit longer, but I really just wanted to get everybody, back up to speed, and we'll kind of look over here. I played pretty much every game from this point, the 17th on, and we've kind of been up and down, especially more down here of late, as we have lost, was that 5 of our last 7, and we are slipping a little bit here in the standings. Currently 7.5 from the Dodgers, and we were tied with them at one point, not so far away, maybe at the All-Star break, where we're just within a few games, and they're kind of pulling away with it, as you would expect, but still a very good jump here in year 3, as our Rockies are set for our first playoff appearance in this series. But as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I know it was a long break between episodes, but we're going to be back up and running. I'm very excited to kind of get this franchise moving along as we move into the year 3 postseason, and soon enough we'll be into the year 3 off season, which everybody who's stuck around knows that is my favorite aspect of this game. So as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.